Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Today we're back with a review. Why are we putting review in inverted commas? We'll find out in a minute when I do the spiel, but today we're talking all things Calamity Jane, currently touring the UK, not for much longer may I add, but still touring. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on this show, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yeah, we're back with another review. Why am I putting inverted commas? Let's get this spiel out fast. Are we ready? Are you sitting comfortably? Here we go. For every show that I see, I try and do 2 videos for it. It's time and willing permitting. The first video is the last video on this channel, the nervous guide. The nervous guide is everything you need to know about the show before you go into it. So things like content warning, sensory warning, food from the seat, things about the theatre in case I've never been into it before, or in case I feel you need to know something about the theatre. Yeah, everything you need to know before you go in. Also, I've started talking about the things I buy at the show because who doesn't love a haul? The second video is this video. This is the review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day I'm no way professional, and I basically just like to talk about my thoughts and feelings about a show after I've seen it, because 9 times out of 10 I go alone and you don't have the chance to reflect and talk about things you enjoyed, things you maybe would have not done. Yeah, you know, when you have that conversation when you leave a theatre, when you've sat with someone and you're going, oh, that was a good show, wasn't it? I like da 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 da. That's what this is. I did quite well today. Anyway, so we are here to talk about Calamity Jane. Ooh, shiny letters. This is another show that I probably should have known something about before I went in, but I did not. Another classic, if you will, that I had no knowledge of. I know, there is many. We're trying to slowly get our way through. I definitely feel like this was a fan favourite because there was a lot of people in the audience who were buzzing from the moment they stepped into the auditorium, and from the first person coming onto the stage who was in the cast grabbing a banjo off the curtain-ish, if you will, and starting to pluck out the first, like the overtures slash first songs opening bits. People were humming, people were singing. There was also a bit of clapping going on, which I did not appreciate. I'm all for, like, in the bit at the end when everyone is bowing slash the bit after the bows, you can clap along to that. Not in the middle of the performance. Weird. But yes, I knew nothing going in apart from a few bits of a few songs. I knew Whip Crack Away, and that was about my lot. So I didn't know anything about the music, some of which were quite catchy tunes, and they were written originally by the pair up which did music, which is Sammy Fain, and lyrics, which is by Paul Francis Webster. I am aware I could have said it that better. I didn't. This show is based on the film, which was produced in 1953 by the same name, which is I feel like that's why I don't really know it, because it's one of the older musicals out there. Obviously it was famous for Doris Day. It was definitely a show that you didn't have to think about. It was easy to watch, easy to know what was going on, and to top it all off, it was an actor musician show. We all know how I feel about those. I have a few on here which are actor musicians, and yeah, it's one of my favourite things in the whole world, and I was very grateful that it existed. The original direction for the show was done by Nikolai Foster, a man who I'm getting to know quite a lot of their work through visits to the Curve and also through other touring productions. And on top of his direction, there is also co-direction and choreography done by Nick Winston. It was overall just funny and heartwarming and well put together. One other creative person I wanted to mention was the person who designed the set and the costume, which was Matthew Wright. The set itself is quite static, in which there for the most part is a stage at the back or a raised platform which is to be a stage at the back, and then there is 2 side pieces and then a large space below the stage which can be used for various different things. There is a few moving chairs, but overall quite static, quite simple, but very cleverly used. And costume wise, they were just, some of them were so beautiful, especially some of the female dresses, very much enjoyed. Yeah, I just wanted to shout out. Moving on to the cast, like I said, this is an actor musician show, so it's full of actors who are musicians. This show had the gambit of musical instruments. There was piano, there was guitars, strings, which were violins and double bass, possibly cello. My memory is terrible. There was also woodwind in the shape of, I think, an oboe, could be possibly, clarinets and saxophones, and have I missed anything? Possibly, but I can't remember. But they were all played absolutely excellently by the cast on stage. Thoroughly enjoyed. Character wise, again, had some favourites, did want to mention them, so let's get into it. Firstly, we've got the role of Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake is the first person that you meet. He is the person who walks onto the stage in front of the curtain before the curtain is raised for Act 1. He is the one that takes the banjo off the curtain, which I assume is not on the curtain, but we live to not know. I mean, if you were further forward than I was, you might, but I was towards the back. And the character of Rattlesnake, which is played by Richard Locke, I don't think I've mentioned, was one of my favourite, because there were times when he wasn't even part of the main action at the front, like the forefront of the stage. He was just doing his thing at the back, but gave such main character energy at times. Just anytime I could see him like walking around the stage, I was like, what is he doing right now? At one point, he, like, the main thing was happening at the front and he just came from like the first level of the sides of the stage and he clearly just had like a little romantic moment with someone at the hotel, and it was just really amusing. I just like keeping an eye what he was doing whenever there was a large cast moment. So I did want to mention Richard in this video because he was one of my favourite characters. Speaking of favourite characters and favourite people, another duo that I wanted to mention, or one of the duos I wanted to mention, is the roles of Francis Fryer and Susan. I'm so sad that Susan only got one name. Gutted. They are played by Samuel Holmes and Holly Kaser. I've seen Samuel in previous shows throughout the years. I first learnt about him during a UK tour of Spamalot, a show I will forever say needs to come back. but his comic timing and his just comical work is always top notch, and this is no exception. I just really enjoy Samuel as an actor, and it was lovely to see him on a stage again, and his work alongside Susan, who was played by Holly, was also really fun. And everything happened at the end, and yeah, it was all happy ending for those two. Spoiler alert, I feel like everyone but me probably knows the show were. Speaking of couples and romantic love, we have the role of Katie Brown, who is played by Seren Sandum Davis. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Her voice was beautiful. Her work alongside Carrie as Calamity, and also alongside Luke as Danny, Luke Wilson, sorry, as Danny, and also the person who was, well, Bill Hickok. All three brilliant. Chemistry was glorious. Like I said, this tour has been going for a while, so everyone is just like a well-oiled machine, which is always fun to watch. And yeah, I really enjoyed Seren in her role, although I don't feel like she was the most liked character. I don't know, she seemed nice at the beginning, but towards the end you were just like, I have my moments where I'm like, I don't know if I like you as much. That's personal preference. Going back to duos I enjoyed, and I have mentioned both of them, the roles of Calamity Jane herself and Wild Bill Hickok. Calamity Jane is played in this show by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I feel like if you have watched any musicals in your life and you don't know who Carrie Hope Fletcher is, you've kind of lived under a rock. Although the person behind me spent pretty much the interval trying to find out about Carrie and what she'd done previously, and was questioning the person next to her about the relationship between her and Tom Fletcher, with their siblings. And they were, even though they read it, they couldn't take it in that they were siblings. I literally turned around and then went, yeah, they are. Just turn back. It's like, this is painful to listen to. But Carrie was a joy to watch. Her voice was powerful when it needed to be, and I enjoyed watching Carrie in the role. Our Bill was played by the understudy slash cover. I don't know what they identify as in this show, but our Bill was Thomas Wolstenholme. I'm going to butcher that whichever way I put it, but Thomas, I again have seen him previously in a different show, but for this role his voice, beautiful, had kind of a crooner, like smooth buttery element to it. It's like I could listen to it all night. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was again really nice to see Thomas in a different role. I'd last seen him, I think, in Once at the Barn a couple of years ago now, but it was really nice to see his face again and to hear his voice again, and yeah, yay, loved it. Like I said, the cast are incredible. They are well oiled. They are nearing the end of their contract. At the time of me filming, there is 2 venues to go, which I believe were Bromley, and they finished in Bristol on the 27th of September. So by the time this video goes live, and I am aging it slightly by saying this, there is 1 week left on the tour. It's going to Bristol, and then that will be it. But yeah, I am glad that I saw this show. I had a great time. Like I said, it wasn't one that I had to think about. The music was catchy, and it was an actor-musician show, which in my head when I do these like star ratings, the fact it's actor-muso gives it like 3 stars, or as it is. It's a no-brainer for me. But yes, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have you seen this tour? What did you think? Did you join in with the claps during the show, or was that just a Wolverhampton thing? Let me know. But that is it. I'm going to leave this video here. Say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back for more theatre-based content soon. I would assume the next video you see will be another set of nervous guides and reviews, because I am again heading back down to London. Although I fear that you might just get one, even though I'm going for 3 shows, because what I'm just watching. But yes, that is it. I'm wittering on. You don't need to know my travel plans, but you probably will find out at some point. All that's left to say is the usual, which is thank you very much for watching. I hope you come back next time. And finally, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye.